Hey, this is Darren,
And this is Phil, and we're the host of the NoGutsNoGalaxy podcast.
and today is August 7th, 2015, and as you can see, we have a new format.
Bam, video, the beard is live. All right, hey, what's going on, guys? It has been a few months. Needless
A
of
few months, few weeks, few years, something like that. It's been
something
a
like
long
that,
time.
yeah. So, where have you been, or what have you been doing? Why haven't we had a podcast? And we're here to answer some of those. So, about the podcast, there's a few things. One, me and Darren weren't really happy with the general state of the podcast. When you do something for 3 years, you tend to sometimes repeat yourself, especially at the time we were trying to do one each week, which grandiose maybe overextension. I don't know. It was we did pretty well, but Darren and I have been in the works and in the talks for switching over to sort of a video format forever, and you guys know how difficult he is getting him on webcam here. You wanna stroke the beard while we're speaking of which,
Yeah,
he's had a webcam longer than I have, and yet this is the first time you do realize that, right? Like,
yeah. I don't mug it up for the camera much, but basically, Phil and I have been super busy with our work with PGI, so that's been taking up a lot of our time. But obviously, like you said, we've been doing this for 3 years, more than 3 years. We needed something fresh, something new, a change of pace. Basically, we've talked about the same topics over and over again, and it was time to kind of just re-examine what we were doing. Obviously, video was the next step, the way to go. So here we are on video for everybody to see. And yeah, we whether or not we do this once a week, twice a month, we kind of still yet to be decided. But I'm really excited about the new format.
yeah, and with that too, we're gonna be possibly altering things up, improving, seeing where we feel the podcast should go, especially in the video format. And it does offer us a lot more opportunities moving to the video format, where we can, I don't know, post, edit stuff in, and do commercials and show off, cool stuff. So, anyways, that's what I'm thinking. But this is where where it's at, and we are back. So for those that are wondering too, this will be on SoundCloud. It will be on YouTube. It'll be on all the iTunes as well. We'll be creating audio versions of this. But for everyone else who likes the VOD experience, YouTube will be where it's at. And let us know what you guys think too. Be like, oh shit, or oh, your beard, it's majestic and it's beautiful and all that fun stuff.
People will be like, we liked the voice, but we didn't need to see the face. Anyway,
Yeah. Can you take it back?
take it back. Can't unsee what's been seen. Oh, speaking of unseen,
Well, that is nice, nice thing you got there.
nice
So,
segue.
yeah, what do you got in the background? That's let's see, Darren Bombadil versus who is that?
Oh yeah,
Ghoulie Stone. I remember those. Those were pretty cool. So yeah, nice
good times.
nice poster. That artwork looks familiar. I think. Oh yeah, that's why I've got that was.
Unseen Moon by Shimmering Sword. My favorite BattleTech picture artwork of all time, right there.
All right, so let's go and jump into that dump. Yeah, let's jump into
Let's
that.
jump into it.
Um, the Unseen. That sort of caught us by surprise. If you guys didn't know, Catalyst Game Labs dropped a bomb on the entire community by tweeting out a poster for the combat manual Mercenaries, and it had the Marauder and Warhammer on the front. And
Throwing down the gauntlet to Harmony Gold. That's going to be interesting. Everybody's basically watching to see what happens. And what I'm amazed so far, well, maybe I'm not surprised. I don't know that we haven't heard anything yet. Maybe they'll just keep
well,
that.
what are the
there.
options? So, for those that maybe don't know, Harmony Gold owns the rights to the original. No, not even that. That. What I'm saying is they own
Well,
the
that's
rights.
four.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they own the rights to the
original
Robotech,
one.
the Macross versions, which and me and you have argued about this back and forth. Is how
And I
much
think we're about to
difference? Yeah, how much difference legally? And I'm not here to say but it is interesting. Catalyst Game Labs, we knew well, when they did this, there was a few things that may happen. One, Harmony Gold basically takes him to court instantly. That hasn't happened yet. Two, Harmony Gold doesn't do jack shit for whatever reason. I don't know. Or three, maybe Harmony Gold does something down the road. But I think there's a few factors here. Is Harmony Gold, are they all bark and no bite because they know that if they go to court legally, because you got to think, dude, like Catalyst didn't just do this on the whim. They talked to their lawyers. They obviously sat down, with Shimmer and Sword, and said, we feel very confident if we do go to court that we don't have, we're gonna win. But you still got to think how many tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars that may cost to do that. So,
and what is the value of winning? Basically, I mean, we know that there's a lot of older people like myself in BattleTech and MechWarrior and so forth that
weathered people. That's
weathered, yeah, wiser, whatever, weathered and wiser, that love these old designs. To me, that is BattleTech. When I think some people, they see the the Timberwolf in their mind whenever somebody says MechWarrior or BattleTech. Myself, I see these mechs right here when I hear the word BattleTech or MechWarrior. So, but again, it's the value. What is the value? Like you said, it could cost a lot to go to court and maybe nothing if they're really, really lucky. I'm not going to really, I don't think it's time to guess what's going to happen. I think there's a lot of possibilities. Who knows what it's going to be, but I'm excited. I mean, obviously, my favorite mechs, there's all kinds of, I mean, first of all, if you saw the miniatures that Catalyst had out at Gen Con, oh my God, those are the miniatures I've wanted since day one. Not just like molten hunks of lead that are melting into one glob, or cardboard stand-ups or anything like that, or just absurd kind of awkward looking mechs. That is the way a miniature should look.
Well, it's because the process where they're switching away from, iron, wind, stuff to 3D printed. But I also want to point out here, this has bigger ramifications for the entire community, because
for everything.
What does this mean for MechWarrior Online? I think in one of the topics we're going to talk about is the Hairbrained Scheme BattleTech PC game, because I think even Jordan Wiseman or someone there has already mentioned this on Twitter of hey, we have all of our ducks lined in a row and we're good to go and we're going to roll forward with it as far as the unseen. So for me, this has a bigger, if it succeeds with Catalyst, I think MWO is going to follow suit. I think BattleTech PC, and from here on out, and that sort of sets a precedent, because it hasn't been the companies that have been screwed over by this. It's been the fan base this entire time. Yeah, really, like we've wanted these things, and they've just been basically like, nah, we're gonna shit on your hopes and dreams. That's what we do here at Harmony Gold. So
it's not that the companies don't give a shit about the unseen. I mean, ultimately, I think as far as company goes, mechs are mechs, but there's fans even within the companies. Obviously, Randall Bills is a big BattleTech fan and so forth. But I think this has huge ramifications, and obviously. I've been kind of struggling finding the mechs that I've felt were my best mechs or my favorite mechs, or the ones that
are these them? They just call to you?
Dude, the unseen pack. Oh my God, I can't wait. This is what I've been waiting for literally since the first announcement of MechWarrior Online and all that. And this is what we've been, bugging Russ about for years and years.
Well, think about this too. What does this mean for all of the unseen? Because I'm not talking about the macro or
Wasp, Stinger,
Wasp, Stinger, and stuff like that. Is that open it up to, as long as they're completely redesigned? And I think it's about time. And
absolutely.
I think a lot of people could say, why hasn't this been done earlier? But you also got to think financially and business sense. This is a risk, because they could go to court. They could still go to court. They could technically still lose and then have to basically pay back everyone and all. But
there's a lot at stake.
But I'm gonna remain hopefully optimistic, and I think they're from here on out we're gonna have them. I think it's gonna.
Did you say hopefully unrealistic, or did you say hopefully optimistic?
I don't. One of those two.
Dude, I'm hopefully optimistic.
You're just realistic. I
just know what happens with lawyers and attorneys. It's ugly.
Yes, but so that was big news. It caught me by surprise, caught everyone by surprise. I think literally I woke up, got online, and of course Reddit was like, I think the title was like, holy shit, and so that is that. So
I think Gen Con had a lot of BattleTech MechWarrior stuff happening because you'd quickly mentioned their harebrained schemes and what they're doing. Not only did Catalyst Game Labs throw the gauntlet down to Harmony Gold with the combat manual and the unseen, but BattleTech, the PC game, was announced by Harebrained Schemes. They had a big poster or banner there. This is, of course, the company run by Jordan Wiseman, the godfather of BattleTech. That's huge. That's exciting. BattleTech, the game, or no, what is it? BattleTechGame.com.
BattleTech game, and let's take a step back. So this was announced on their Twitter and everything, and it's sort of out of, well, I wouldn't say it was out of nowhere. And the only reason I say this is X Impaler X, one of our streamers, had him for his 24-hour stream, and he was one of the guests. And one of the questions he said, "Do you have any questions for Jordan?" And I typed, with your recent success on Kickstarter, and obviously, the history you have with BattleTech, have you ever considered doing a Mech Commander, Kickstarter? And is that a thing that? And his response was, this is where I sort of awkwardly look at you and walk out of the room, don't say anything. And we were like, okay, that's odd. Like, so is that confirmed Mech Commander? And then this happened. So it's not a Mech Commander. Let me be clear with that. At least from my understanding, it's a turn-based strategy. And the best thing to sort of, look at that is the Shadowrun, XCOM, and I'm fucking excited for this. So it's a Kickstarter, which hasn't happened yet. They said they're going to go live in August, maybe September. I think it was August. And I'm gonna put this out here, Darren. I think this is going to be their biggest Kickstarter in success yet. No, because look how vague and sort of Shadowrun is as far as like an IP. Like not everyone knew about it, and so look at everybody who's involved with MechWarrior or Mech Commander or anything Mech Assault. And from me, having a turn-based strategy like this, XCOM sort of Shadowrun style, where possibly single player, I'm giddy like a schoolgirl. I'm super excited. I mean, is it Mech Commander, which I'd love to have? No, but this is like something we haven't had since maybe Crescent Hawk's inception.
Yeah, the first BattleTech PC game, I remember that. Locust on the box, awesome game. But anyway, yeah, I mean the opportunity here and the possibilities. First of all, I think one issue that a lot of people have is tactics, and I want to just really quickly touch on this and then move on, and then we can never speak of it again. The bottom line is there's some people out there that have already voiced their opinion that they're gun shy because of the whole tactics debacle or whatever. Here's my feeling. You can say yours afterwards. Tactics, IGP. BattleTech, the game, harebrained scheme, Jordan Wiseman. Completely different projects, completely different people behind it. I have 100% confidence that Harebrained can do this. They've already, they already have product out there. They're not maybe a AAA dev, but they're devs. They're working. They've got a staff. I feel 10 times more confident, if not more, that this is going to be a viable product, an awesome game. Oh, we didn't even touch on they're using, basically Flying Debris artwork.
Well, they're sharing 3D models with Piranha Games for all of their mech assets. And so, yeah. I do think totally understand any type of, like, oh God, tactics. Trust us. And we were super psyched for tactics. I remember, we sat down and had a podcast with the Roadhouse. Style, well, yes. But gameplay wise, we actually enjoyed it. Now the Unity crashing and then all the shit IGP went and being behind it, like I said, as soon as we started seeing it go down the drain, we stopped promoting it because I wasn't going to say go spend $20 on Founders when it was anyways. So this has nothing to do with IGP or any of the studios that may have been involved with that. But I do understand people's reluctance. But this is what I also say is any reluctance, you should have reluctance on Kickstarters. You're an adult, hopefully. And if you're not, well, maybe you should learn, is what you're doing is you're investing in something, and it's the greater population that's investing small amounts to make something happen. So in reality, instead of there actually being a publisher and then there being stipulations and all that fun stuff, blah, 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 you are, or we are the publishers per se. So look at it this way. Do they have a history? Yes. How many Kickstarters have they done? And then have they delivered on all of them? What are people's thoughts? What are the reviews? And I haven't played the Shadowrun, and actually I've actually been thinking about it because everyone says it's really good. Is to ask other people, like, is it something, do they deliver? And the one thing that I'm really excited for, and I think a lot of you should be if you didn't know, is Harebrained Schemes releases tool sets to create your own content as far as like campaigns and stuff. So the first thing that pops in my head is, if they do something like that, it literally leads to an infinite possibilities of community content being made.
Yeah.
And for me, as a BattleTech fan, I'm super excited. The things we don't know if it's going to be just mechs. We don't know if you're actually playing a MechWarrior physically out of the mech. Is mech combat on mech combat, or is it finally stepping outside the box and doing something that really no other game has done really, really well? And even Mech Commander didn't do it all that well, but the infantry, the tanks, the VTOL, like, and then, you know, what is combat going to be like? So,
but what we do know, okay, so yeah, people have thrown around the whole XCOM reference, but what we do know is that you're controlling a lance of mechs. This was from Harebrained Schemes. You're controlling a lance of mechs, and you not only, whether you level up your mechs or upgrade them, I don't remember, but you also do level up your MechWarrior. So now you're saying you're basically wondering if the MechWarriors would get out of their mechs and
yeah, are you physically going to walk around? Is that a part? Because we've always had this disconnect.
BattleTech world.
Yeah, we've never had the BattleTech, which is the mechs are the rarity, and if anything, the elite sort of like they're used, but you have all this infantry and tanks and all that in front, because the reality of it is how expensive they are. We just don't know a lot. So I think we're in the same place where we were when MWO was announced. Is what is it going to be like? Are they going to use sort of the MechWarrior RPG? For those that don't know, the pen and paper. Mech Commander 2 did the sort of pilot skill trees where, as they level up, you pick like a laser specialist or light mech specialist, and it gives you modifiers to hit and stuff like that. But I am super excited. If you can't really tell,
we are, there have been over the years a lot of people, we've been called shills and all kinds of whatever. But the bottom line is, if people were around when we started this, and I was just talking to Matt and some of the people at PGI about this the other day. You remember that day when I met these guys, Matt and Russ at GDC, and
I was jealous. Yes.
Yeah, but saw MechWarrior online for the first time. Then we had the live podcast, and the excitement was real. And just like then, the excitement is real for this product. I cannot wait to see. I mean, there's all the things that we just talked about, but just the fact that it's Wiseman that is behind this and his company, I totally have faith.
And speaking of which, Jordan, he's a businessman, and he's had a lot of ups, and he's even said he's failed a lot of times, because as a businessman, that's what almost sort of happens. That's the way you grow and learn and experience. And for me, they're approaching it the smart way. And I feel like the Kickstarter and the video is going to be good. I think it's going to be straight to the point. And, when the reason I go back to this is Gen Con, they had this huge poster and with BattleTech, the game, and people were like, whoa, I don't know. It's great publicity. One, you're using word of mouth. Podcast, we're going to be spreading the word like, hey guys, this is coming out, or this is what's going on. And we haven't talked with them yet, Harebrained Scheme or Jordan. We've reached out, and hopefully maybe in the future we'll be able to sit down and chat with it. I'm sure as the Kickstarter comes, the interviews and stuff will happen, and so we're going to try, and maybe with this new video format we can have Jordan right in the middle. I don't know, maybe we can sandwich. Yeah.
You can be the meat in the middle. Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is we're going to try and get Jordan on, get some more information from him. We're going to try and get Randall on from Catalyst Games, get some more information from them regarding the Unseen and their endeavors. But a lot of exciting things going on with BattleTech and MechWarrior. Can't wait to see the direction both of these things take. But let's talk about MWO now. So
well,
a good time.
Well, before we get to that,
before we go,
well, it's sort of involved with that, but critical hits.
Oh yeah,
some people have asked about it, and
where is it?
This is sort of like the podcast, guys. So what happened, for those that don't know, Critical Hits was started long time ago and we had an artist, Rudy, and
Short painter.
short
Those who
painter.
review.
Rudy went on to right now. Actually, he's about to have a kid. He's married. He's got a
Got
house
all
now.
responsible and
Well,
stuff.
and it's funny because me and him were working on that, BattleTech Universe sort of project in Unity, and no shit, the work he had done in that literally landed him at a gig with a company, and he's not looked back since. So he's super busy. Nice bowl of. You want to see my cup? I can do this. You want to see? Mine's got a Timberwolf on it. Mine Trump yours. That's
I
what
think we should
happens.
compare size, Phil.
It's about whatever, man. I don't need 64 ounces of coffee. But yeah, so Rudy is super busy, and he actually had to call it quits on the comic last year. And so we reached out to Ken, aka Plexi, the guy who does All Systems Nominal, which, by the way, is awesome, and you should support him and his work and his
Absolutely.
endeavor. I know we do. Do you? Who do you support? If you like it, support him. And we reached out to him, and recently when we said we're going to be kicking off a new format for the podcast, we want to kick off a new format for Critical Hits. So what does this mean? I'm not going to go into details, but I can tell you around the same time you probably see this, you may see a new Critical Hits coming shortly after. Completely new format, and I'm really excited for it because it's a little less work as far as pre-production for Ken, and the effect, I think, will sort of resound with us for those that play MWO, and it's really exciting. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a completely new format, and yeah, I'm not gonna ruin it. You're gonna like it, and if you don't like it, you can blame Beard. No, you're gonna love it.
It's going to be as different from the original Critical Hits as this podcast is from our original podcast. It's going to be a completely new thing, and it's going to be really cool. I'm excited for that. In fact, it's the idea we've had since almost the beginning. We've wanted to do this form of a Critical Hits for a long time. So
and we did have a little bit or a lot of bit inspiration, and I don't want to drop the inspiration, but let's just say there was a certain artist that sort of, anyways. Yeah, it's coming soon, so you'll have to wait. I'm not giving up.
Right.
I'm a whore, but I'm not giving up anymore. That's what's happening.
All right, so you're a tease, but let's move on to MechWarrior Online.
All right, dude. We haven't talked about this in a while, and it's been a while, and since then we've had a lot change, a lot of additions, and one of which is the new maps. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the new maps. Specifically, we have River City, and what this means for the rest of the maps. And we know Forest Colony is coming out. Actually, it's coming out the 18th of August, so that's coming out soon.
The bottom line, all these changes, they're adding destructible, assets like trees and lampposts, and in the future, in the near future, there'll be cars and other. Basically, I think the word was anything that you think your mech can pick up with its hand will be destructible. And then also huge increase to map size, River City as well as Forest Colony. Don't know if every map is going to be.
I think I think they're doing that. I think. Well, Alpine's bigger, I think, but I think they may keep it that way. But it's just they're going to be redoing all the maps. Now, let's talk about River City though, because I really do enjoy it. It's different enough where
also 24-hour night cycle.
24-hour day night cycle, and you would think though that the fights wouldn't happen around the Citadel, but guess what? It still sort of does. But at least there's maneuvering room to a certain extent. Now, I want to get to something that I love what they've done with it. I think it's definitely a step up. Some people don't like it. I think there's more room to the battlefield. But here's one thing that I do think that needs to happen on that map, and it sort of plays towards the gameplay. If you're looking at the map, and I'm sort of pointing northward here, northward splits the map in half, and north is where the dropship and the runway is, you can't actually maneuver all the way around. So really, the map sort of funnels you into the combat, where if you could move around to the left, you could sneak around and do this wide left flank or northern flank, and you can't do that, and you can't do it to the south because it's wide open in the water. So I think it's one of those where I think a community member has suggested opening those back ways up. That way you can have flanks and you could have sort of that dynamic gameplay, because right now it still sort of funnels you. You can literally start seeing where people are moving within 30-40 seconds. Is that intended? If that's intended, then it's working. But the one thing,
keep in mind, I mean, this is actually a divisive topic for some people, because I think automatically you and I kind of want bigger maps, maybe with alternate fighting areas and so forth. But I play a lot of other games. Been playing a lot of Heroes and Generals lately, and you get a lot of people out there, and I think especially Americans, and I'm not really sure why on this, but I do see this trend, who want pretty much, and I'm going to say Counter-Strike type maps where they're really small, almost no time travel time to your enemy. They want to be funneled. They want that constant engagement. They don't like travel time, downtime. They want to be in.
It's the Call of Duty sort of mentality.
Call of Duty, yeah.
But here's
So I don't know what.
like I get that, but there's a few other things like we can all agree having the different drop zones on maps is usually detrimental to gameplay, just because the idea what happened, the reason why we were split up into lances was to break up the death ball. But all that, it doesn't do that. All it does is it puts assaults sometimes in a very vulnerable situation. And if you as your team go to try to help them, then you're all now in a vulnerable situation. And if you don't, then your assaults are like, oh, what the hell? Why did you leave us to die? So for me, it's one of those things where, overall maps, I think it's an improvement. Cool. Kudos. River City, Forest Colony, we've only seen glimpses. I know we're going to be doing a sneak peek preview as soon as possible and getting you guys, that on our YouTube channel. And so I'm really excited because we haven't seen it. Me and you, Darren, we haven't played it yet. So, but at the end of the day, River City there's a lot more infighting in the buildings. There's a lot more cover. Like it can go really quick, really bad if you're not, paying attention. But I still think that I want multiple avenues on maps, and literally the northern part of the map is you can't, and I feel like that's sort of that's detrimental. I feel like if that's open it up, and then they would say, you know what, hey, having the different drop locations so far apart is actually bad. It's okay maybe it wouldn't be so bad if assaults only got placed in the closest, area, so they didn't, get caught off. If that's the case, cool. But I think right now, open up that top part, and then I would say, either make it one drop sort of area where all three drop ships come in at once, or make sure that assaults will not spawn in these others because they get screwed. And I think that's a huge, and you see it it doesn't actually matter what map. Right now, that affects all maps where, you play Ring Around the Rosie, everyone moves to the right or left, and your assaults get caught out because, yeah. So.
Well, I mean, overall, in my opinion, huge improvement. I love the new River City as opposed to Old River City or Old River City Night. And based on that, I can't wait to see Forest Colony. I can't wait to see, every map get redone and what they do with it. And hopefully with these redesigns, it's also a learning process. So if there's things that we learn from the redesign of River City, it gets implemented in the future ones as well.
You know what I really liked when we did the vlog, and Ryan and them sat down and explained the technical. To me, that was really cool because I think it sort of helps people understand, hey, before, this is why maybe this particular texture didn't look good, but this is how we're fixing it, and this is why it looks 10 times better, or this is why the lamppost or trees and stuff. And I think that's really cool. Speaking one more really quick about the day-night cycle, I think this is something we do have to bring up, is if this is going to be a common occurrence on all maps in the future, I do think it sort of brings to the need of, night vision and thermal actually being real. Like right now, they're not real. They're based off like textures. Like in night vision, it's light amplification. Any light source would be, so on River City, dude, it would be bright as all can be, and you could see across all the way, so it's one of those, like, if it's a limiting game factor, I just feel like that thermal and night vision could definitely be improved across the board. And I would even toss out, I'd love to see the predator vision. And I remember being one of the people that says, oh, that's not real. Looking back, I wish I could tell myself just shut up and just enjoy. It was definitely different. It was cool. And they could limit that to maybe 400 or 500 meters and then have regular thermal see further. I can understand what they were saying is it gives you an unfair advantage if you can see across the map. Is that a problem of the particular viewing mode, or is that a problem because of the particular
Just
map?
decrease the range. I totally agree.
Well, decrease. No, no. What I'm saying is the map. That's if you can see all
Yeah.
the way across the map.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You're saying just design the maps differently so
Yeah,
you
I
can
mean
see
that
them.
was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
reason thermal,
yeah.
like back on the old River City and the old Predator, you could literally see across the map. And then they switched it to the new one and then limited it to 700. Then I was like, why didn't you just do
Well,
that with the
I
old?
mean, you could redesign all the maps to fit Predator Vision, or you could just make Predator Vision a little different so it has a reduced range or something like that. I don't know. They could toy with it.
But my problem
Obviously,
is with Night
Vision
River
isn't on
City.
the.
But with River City, I guess, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But with River City, the problem is with right now night vision and thermal. You'll switch to thermal and you can't see. Everything's black. It's because it's not real thermal. It's not reading the temperature off the rocks and the ground and your mechs, and that basically makes it to where it's people are going to turn up their gamma to play, and they already do that, especially now gamma is working. So to me, is that's a problem because all it's going to do is it's going to hamper someone who doesn't turn up their gamma and the people that do. It's I think
But
those
the
two
problem
systems.
is, we know that this isn't really on the to-do list right
I
now.
I know. I'm
So
just.
anyway, we've talked about this before. I agree. It would be nice, but are there things that I would like to see before that for sure?
But this has
Um,
big gameplay implications. That's why I'm saying,
no,
especially
I
with the
know.
reworks and if all maps have a day-night cycle.
We shall see. Another huge thing that came into the game recently is first it was the European server, and now there's the Oceanic server. So now there's three servers. You got North America, European, and Oceanic. That's huge. I was actually pretty surprised that they went ahead and did this.
I was surprised it was so quick. I mean,
Yeah,
as
it
far
seems
as
like it
EU and then
smooth,
boom,
right?
yeah, and it has been. And
There's been
um,
some minor hiccups, but for the most part,
the first
amazing implementation.
and the first day of stream, I hopped on EU and I had around 120 ping. Wasn't an issue at all, and I was happy, and I was still will have it checked. Now the only problem though lies is the Oceanic. Oceanic is basically Australia. I don't think that includes Singapore. I think that's what a lot of people have been saying. So does it help anybody in Australia? And I think from my understanding is that it's just the infrastructure in Australia. I mean, you literally have a gigantic, continent, country, and it's not all up to snuff. And so I think it helps them overall. I don't think it helps everyone else. But here's the thing: is just because I connect and I have a 300 ping, is that reflective of the performance? Do I still get good hit reg? And if I still have good hit reg, then awesome. But that's the thing is, I don't know how
I think
many
a lot
people.
of people are unchecking Oceanic, and that's understandable. We've had Australian friends play with us for years, and they get 300-400 pings or whatever, but they stuck with it and they've been loyal. I think the Australians deserve their own server. As much as I don't like dividing up the queues, I don't think that's fair. I think
Well,
it's selfish to not want them to be
Well,
able to
no,
play.
no, no. But it's
Yeah.
great for them because they can have it checked and play. And when the
Yes.
matchmaker starts not finding matches, then it connects to the others. And cool. My one problem with this, and this was pointed out to me as well, is there was a few times I dropped as a solo and/or group player, and there was four. We were connected to an EU server, and there was only 4 EU players out of 24. The rest were completely North American. Why are we being forced to play on an EU? And that was a little questionable. Like, why out of you think it would be the majority, right? Like, only 4 of them. Why are 20 of us being subjected to higher
Maybe
pings?
server load. Maybe they
I don't
also
know.
take that. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, granted, 120, like I said, 120, 126 ping, it's really not that bad. But it's just the fact of, you would think that if the majority of us are NA, that's where we would be playing. And, okay, every once in a while, maybe. But I definitely noticed the later the time zone went on and we crossed outside the NA time zone, I started playing more European server, and the pings were reflected there, and that's awesome. And like I said, I think it's great. I think it's beneficial. I think it's healthier for the game. And the biggest thing is community warfare. Obviously, will be still localized in North America, and I don't think that's going to change. At least not what Russ has said. So.
Yeah, so I mean that's huge. I was, like I said, super happy to see it happen, and it's about time, and that's awesome of Russ to do that. Another huge improvement recently was the Mech Lab and Mech Selection. Again, I think a really well done implementation. Obviously, there's still stuff that's going to be improved and worked on and added to it or whatever. But out the door, huge improvement in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, you've got the Mech Select. So when it first came out, one of the biggest gripes a lot of people had was modules. I can't see my fucking modules. And I was just streaming like 2 days ago. I have no idea where my one radar dep is. I have no idea. I literally had to buy another one. And first world mech problems, Phil, whatever. But this does bring up something, which is there has to be a quick, easy way. Now, previous to this one, on the one we had last week, was when you clicked on a mech in the Mech Select, it told you what modules were equipped. That's gone now. As far as in the Mech Select, you have to click on it, then open Mech Info, scroll down, and you can see it.
Well,
very convoluted.
Fair. Once you open the Mech Info and then you switch between,
but
mechs.
You got to click on every single mech.
Yeah. No, I know.
And so, what is happening in August 18th patch? I think that's what they said. Now, when you mouse over a mech and that Mech Info pops up, they're removing the graphs and they're replacing it with module info and cockpit item info. Awesome.
Huge.
It's huge. Still one gripe with this, and this is what a lot of people, they want an icon. At least, okay, so some people want a whole host of icons on the mech, Micon. It's like saying I have a sensor. I think that's too convoluted, and I know some people argue, but you got to think it's screen space. There's not a whole lot there. You don't want to just clutter it up. So what about just one icon that says you do have modules equipped to this mech, and then you mouse over it, right? Because it wouldn't be there if you didn't.
Yeah. Something super easy, something super basic. Doesn't have to clutter the screen, make it all, cover the mech. Now we got this beautiful, wall of mechs with all the individual camos. We don't want to dirty that up now. There's some people that like it clean and so forth. So I agree. We've talked about that before. I think just one icon saying there's something on this mech, check it out.
And I know some people argue and say, well, they can show them all. At the end of the day, I think there needs to be a compromise, and I think that's a good compromise, is saying just one icon. And I know some people don't even like the new Mech Select. They don't like the wall of mechs. They like the list, which again, it just shows you how difficult it is, and a position they are is you can't please everyone. Yeah, and there's still people that see the new Mech Select and they don't like it. Another gripe people have had is you can't see your mech. Totally valid complaint. So I think a good sort of compromise would be if you go to the store, the icons are a lot smaller, maybe in between the current size of the Mech Select and the store, and so it shrinks it down so you could actually see your full image of your mech. I think that's sort of a given that needs to happen. I concede that. Is it a big deal to me right now currently? No, because when I click loadout, I can see my mech, or if I go to my home screen. But you know what? Home screen spinning mechs, when is that going to happen? Like like I can totally see that. Yeah, it should happen. So but UI improvements come in, and I think that's just an ongoing from that latest vlog video.
Well, it's like, it's an ongoing process, just like every aspect of this game. It's perpetual development. That's the phrase that's been thrown around a lot, and I'm fine with that. This was a positive move. This was a step forward. I approve of the changes that were made. I approve of the changes that are coming on August 18th, and I want to just keep seeing it get improved and polished and fine-tuned. But I like it. And the things you brought up, I'd love to see those implemented as well when they can be.
But I mean, really, UI, off the top of my head, what else needs to be improved, as far as like what is detrimental right now? And I think that should be the focus, and then everything else is cosmetic, like maybe in-game gameplay icons, your little mech paper doll, it actually is the shape of your mech instead of just maybe that's something they can do. UI in general, I think that would be really cool if they redid the actual mech HUD UI and updated it, maybe even make some of the monitors or something that I've always sort of tangent here, we're gonna go off. I think they should just remove the monitors, the little screens that aren't used. And this is my reasoning. If it's one of those where in the future we might be able to use them, and I think that's sort of been the premise, that's fine. But take them out until then. Because right now you literally have like screens that are taken up where it's view space that you could use. So I think it's one of those where, and it looks bad. Is that just me, man? Like that.
Well, the problem is though we don't know what it looks like when you take the monitors out. So that could require more design time from Lisa and whoever else is doing the cockpit design to kind of
But maybe
make up for
from
the
here
lack
on
of
out.
monitors.
But maybe from here
Yeah,
on
no,
out,
I
just
agree.
don't.
I mean, there's been the suggestion of just putting some animated GIFs on there, that doesn't have to be real game info or anything like that. I like that idea. I'd rather see some just basic animated GIFs on there for immersion. But if that can't happen, then yeah, I agree. It's hard to see more monitors being put in, and sometimes what I think are too many monitors, especially considering that it just doesn't show anything. So yeah, we'll have to see. I agree.
Well,
But
you have people that want a sim experience, like you're reading off these monitors, and in all honesty, I don't think that's BattleTech. Like, I don't think people understand that this isn't a modern or '90s style fighter pilot cockpit. This is something that has a ton of technology where things are being projected, if you will, for info for you. Like the HUD is projected. Yeah, yeah. It's not like a screen, a physical, and I feel like that's sometimes a lack of imagination or sort of forethought of these aren't 90s, jets. They're 30, 3,000, technological monsters that have synthetic muscle and, just a whole host. So,
1,000 years of technological advancements from today. But yeah, I mean, I agree, and we'll have to see what direction those go in. So big UI changes, more improvements coming in the near future, August 18th, and I'm sure beyond that. Some more things coming up in the near future. We got the in-game tutorial that's being worked on. We haven't seen that. We don't know much about that yet, as well as the new balance that's coming. There's a lot of cool stuff I think that we'll have to talk about in the coming weeks, months, etc. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Do you have
yeah.
anything else?
Well, the tutorial sort of opens the door for me, at least, of thinking there's gonna be is there AI elements, and at least is that what's being worked on behind the scenes, and what does that what does that what does that open the door of PvE or anything like that? And then
Single player campaigns and blah
yeah,
blah blah.
the rebalance is huge, but until Russ and Paul talk about it, really, it's up in there. We know it's potentially huge.
It's coming to test.
And like yeah, and I do know about it. I've seen what is being worked on. I can tell you, for those maybe are a little worried, I will say this is as a player, I am thoroughly excited for the changes coming. Role warfare is actually gonna be a thing. That's just not just straight up mech combat. There's like I said, I can't talk about it until they give the thumbs up and all that. But
as far as role warfare, real quick though, I want to say that if minimally it's setting up the foundation for actual role warfare. After this is implemented, maybe it won't be 100% what we're thinking as far as role warfare, but it's at least setting up the foundation, and then gameplay elements will add to that as well.
Yeah, I think game modes have to like be based off of some, but there are some major changes, not just to
huge.
MechWorks guys. So it's gonna leave that out there. And you're not gonna see any absurd weapon quirks. So no more 50% on Goss on gridirons and stuff like that. So, but yeah, let's see. We had the new spectator tool came out. I know Major League MechWarrior just had their first match. I was watching it. It was awesome. I think Siri and Bill were having a blast, and I think even Siri said, "Thank you, PGI. I love you." And then he, of course, I think said like, "Well, I've been asking for it like 2 years, but it's finally here." So
it's here, and it's also just like everything else that we've talked about today. It's going to also be improved upon. Paul has mentioned that it's something that's important to them, and this was, I think, a huge improvement, and it's available for everyone now. You don't have to have special permission. So yay for the comp groups and and also content creators, people that are making machinima, whatever else. Huge asset. So yeah, I agree. Thank you, PGI, for listening to what we wanted, even if it took more time than some people wanted. At least it's here.
And with that, what are you going to do with it, people? And really, that's what it comes down to. Community, leagues, content creators. You have it in your hands to be able to do it.
I want to see some amazing machinima now and videos. I want to see funny stuff and serious stuff, and yeah, the tools are there. Create.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for us. I just want to say again, thank you for Darren being the host with the most beard. Dude, that is pretty awesome beard. I'm just going to say,
It's getting there again. This isn't as long as it was before I shaved it, but it's getting close.
So, and of course, I just want to say thank you guys out there. A big thank you to our community, our listeners, new and old. Maybe this is your first time listening in. And
new like Phil, old like me.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for your support. Let us know what you guys think of the format. We're going to continue doing it and improving it, as best we can. Quick shout out to Vaughn Kickass for some awesome artwork and commissioned we did with him. And I don't know why he picked the Timberwolf for you, but I actually sort of like it. It's look at the actually, that's sort of funny that he. And my favorite part is the UAV with little smiley. I think that's awesome. So.
The reason he picked the Timberwolf is because he couldn't pick the Warhammer, but now maybe if those come into the game, we can get a new one. But anyway, yeah, Vaughn does amazing work. We appreciate everything that he's done for us.
All right, guys, this was your local No Guts No Galaxy MechWarrior podcast signing off for tonight. This is Phil,
and this is Darren.
Until next time, Mech Warriors. Boom. Number 1 down. 1 million to go.